Introduction to Quantifying News. So here at Iapetus, we're working on text analysis, algorithms of digital news articles, and their impact on stock market trading. So we asked the question, does news impact the volatility in the market? And if so, can this be quantified, analyzed, and used real-time by investors? So we're going to walk through asking the question, our lexicon creation, our word library weighting, IDing reliable news sources, talking about our algorithm, our graphical interface on our website, data, stock market analytics, our business model, and conclude with some R&D. So it starts with asking the question and then works out all the way out to R&D. So our lexicon, we use a bag of word model, and that's primarily information retrieval. So we're looking at text analytics. So our bag is filled with words, right? So here are a couple examples, and then we quantify each of those words. So we weigh them. Similar to this example here, positive words, negative words. And then here is some history, right? So all the way back to 1966. And then fast forward to 2014 with the max diff sentiment lexicon, 1,500 terms, and they use intensity scores. And continuing from that, so creating positive seed words and negative seed words, right? So a library of positive, library of negative words. And then what we're doing at Iapetus, we're weighing those words, right? So our psychological trigger word news index has approximately 500 trigger words. We have an optimism library that is broken down into 3 tiers of weighing, and a negative library, which is broken out into 3 different groups, 3 tiers. So we quantify based on font size. So when we go out searching articles, the title, which has a larger font, is weighed differently, is weighed higher than that same word if it were found in the body, for example. So IDing reliable news sources. We use these 9 news sources versus Twitter. We use ABC, Al Jazeera, Fox News, NBC, NPR, The Guardian, New York Times, Washington Post, and USA Today. And we do that because these are reliable news sources. We're avoiding fake news, so we build our corpus around these. Right, so they're using quality journalists, they're using credible sources that are fact-checked by their peers. Multiple algorithms. So we use Python to do our work. So we have separate algorithms for each news source, and they get pretty complex. These are some earlier renditions. So for example, algorithm output for Fox News back in August 17th, right? We had that horrible news cycle that involved several killed in Spain, the anti-terror operation after the Barcelona attack. So we quantify this, found these articles, score them, and then this is some back-end data sets. So all of that information is captured so that we can do some analytics on the back end. So here's 9:30 a.m. We start our first scans in the morning, and then we do our next one at 11 a.m. Right. So for example, Fox News is this score right here, 121, and then it got more optimistic in the next news cycle at 172. And here's a dot plot example from April 2017 for the Washington Post. And what we're looking at here is this quadrant here, the positive quadrant, right? When the market is increasing, right, our news data is also positive, right? So this quadrant and this quadrant is where we're correlating the two, the news to the market. Graphical interface, so our website. We do market analysis around Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, Standard & Poor's, and newly introduced, we added the VIX. So we're overlapping to the Iapetus Psychological Trigger Word News Index, and we're correlating news sentiment as positive and negative to market volatility. So this is a taste. This is what it looks like. So here's an example from February 9th. And we have here our news sources, and these values are from hundreds of articles that were scanned at this time. So at that moment in time, on that day, we average that out, and if it meets a threshold, then it kicks out this recommendation: buy this market. So April 7th, right here, we see a negative sentiment cluster, and this is a negative number here, meeting a threshold, sell recommendation, and you can see what happens in the market. Here's the S&P 500, same thing. So a positive sentiment cluster here for news. This value here meets a threshold, gives this recommendation. So using the information, this is a real-time alert prompting tradable action intelligence, right? This is a real-time tool. So we're averaging these all out, meeting a threshold, buy, hold, sell. And this is the Dow Jones Industrial bar here, and that's what it did in that example. Email alerts. So Iapetus alert, so we will let you know when there's a score threshold cross. So this was a pretty drastic one here. You can see this dip. Al Jazeera dropped several hundred points, prompting this value and this sell recommendation. Data, stock market analytics. So we did our first white paper back in August, Advanced Text Analytics Sentiment and News Media Impact on Stock Market Performance. And this was a proof of concept for us. This is a real-time investing tool forecasting market using complex news sentiment algorithms. And this is figure 5 from that paper. And what we're showing is beating a buy and hold strategy for the SPY ETF. So from January 2017 to May, the SPY returned 6.71%. Our model, which allows us to sell at highs, rebuy the stock at a lower price, gave us this 9.75 return. So our business model. We want to deliver this intelligence to every trader and investor. We believe this information offers unique value. We empower individuals to better understand behavioral economics with tools to simplify trading the stock market. So we have a per person sentiment model. Anyone and everyone has access to our macro news platform, which you just saw, for a low monthly subscription of a couple dollars. In development now is a commercial sentiment model. So we're looking at sector and company specific intelligence of news and quarterly reports. R&D. So this is what we're working on in development right now. Our first dashboard is going to be a biomedical pharmaceutical dashboard, and it's going to include far more complex than the news index that we're currently running. It's going to have multiple lexicon libraries. The first one's going to include a company earnings report. Next one is a targeted company news lexicon. And then the final one will be an FDA website intelligence collection lexicon. And those will be woven together on a single dashboard is what we're building right now. So look for that soon. Next in the pipeline is a banking financial industry dashboard. So we'll be working on that as soon as we finish our biomedical pharmaceutical one. And then following that, technology dashboard. And then we'll roll additional sectors after those three. So our tool Intel can be your behavioral economics big data solution. So ask yourself, are you using sentiment analysis yet?